Hello and welcome to the Bowling University studio from the International Bowling Campus in Arlington, Texas. I'm Gerald Morrow and this is The Profit Break. We're glad you're here. Give us 15 minutes and you'll be well on your way to improving yourself and your profitability. For many small businesses, just the word website or digital can be intimidating as we don't often consider ourselves very tech savvy. Knowing and understanding that your website is an important part of attracting guests to visit is key. Well, you're in luck as today's guest makes the internet a friendlier place for small business owners and it can help us navigate this whole idea of the website and its importance. Joining us is Nicole Krug, who is the founder of Socialite, where she helps clients hone their digital marketing strategies to bring more exposure to their brand while boosting their bottom line. Nicole, thank you again for joining us on the Profit Break today. It's always great to have you here, and I know you've been on several times, been with us at expos and Edupaloozas and all that, and we talk about so many different things when it comes to the digital space, and I know today we're going to focus on websites.
So I'm thrilled to be here, but I'm so excited to talk about websites because in all of the new bright shiny things, the AIs, the social media, and websites often get shoved to the back. They are not as sexy and exciting to talk about, but I will go so far as to say a website is your single most important marketing asset. So I'm really excited to focus on it today.
Awesome. So you really hit it on the head with my first question, which is, again, all this talk about AI and social media and everything else, the whole website idea is always, like you said, got pushed to the back burner. So for a small business, is it really still relevant?
It is. So there's studies that are going that showing that people that more than 50% of people don't actually believe an audience or a business is a credible business unless they have a website. While a lot of people try and get away with having a presence on Facebook, the fact is that's Mark Zuckerberg's space, not yours. And so he can change things. He can choose how to display it however he wants, and you are subject to his whims. Now, I don't want to discount the value of Facebook, but I think it's really important to have your own personal space, your home on the web that you can control, you can design, you can share information as you choose to. And that's what a website does. Now, on the AI side, I will even say that, these are language models that learn from things on the internet. So whether you're using ChatGPT to plan a birthday party or you're asking Siri where to go bowling near you, they still need a website to pull information from, even if it's so it's kind of this almost counterintuitive stuff because you're building a website for people that may not actually visit the website, but Siri will visit the website and tell somebody about it. So it is still pretty important.
So it's not just relevant for those potential guests, it's also relevant in that AI landscape or, hey, Siri, find me a place to go bowling or one of those kinds of things. So it's definitely, you've sold me that a website's still relevant. So I'm buying in. I'm not completely there, but I'm buying in. And you kind of scared me with making that statement about, hey, Facebook is Mark Zuckerberg. So really, you're telling me the only piece of the internet that I own is my website. Facebook is Mark's, and like you said, he controls the messaging, the branding, the content that's out there. While you put stuff, your website's really where you can have a home on the internet, correct?
That's true, because even if, let's say, you have your phone number or your address in your profile for Facebook, people might, like, if they're on Facebook, they're going to see the posts. They may not actually see that. They may not see you have duck pin bowling or you have special leagues or all that. Some of that might be buried, but you can choose on your own website what to emphasize and what to put on for. And you can choose other places that you are going to have more information. Because let's say you want to advertise Cosmic Bowling. Or you want to advertise team building meetings and get people, corporations to come bowling in your center, right? You need a place on your website to send people to with more information. And you can't really do that very well on Facebook, on Instagram, because just sending them to a post isn't really more. You want to send them to a website where they can fill out a form and get more information, or they can find your rates, or they can find all kinds of photos and details. And so it really does make a difference to have a place that you can customize and set up however you'd love.
So I know, like you say, have that place that you're sending them to from those social posts. And on another episode of The Profit Break, you talked about Facebook ads, and you gave the great example of a birthday party and how you got to have that page on your website, because if you're going to spend money for the ad, you got to send them somewhere where they can find that information. So when we start talking about information for the center, what would be some, I guess, basic information that I need to have on my center's website to kind of make, so if I'm going to go back to my web developer or website person, what are some things I should ask them as far as making sure that we have on our website to help us out?
So first and foremost, what people are going to want to know is, where are you and how do they reach you, right? So even if you've got your phone number and your address buried in a location page, make that front and center, make it super easy to go to, because that's what people are going to be looking for. They're also going to want to know your hours. Some people are going to want to know what your availability is. Like maybe you've got, if 8 o'clock on a Saturday night is a hot time and you've got a 2-hour wait list, somebody might want to know that. You might have high times, you might have low times, but again, maybe you've got leagues happening. When do they happen? Who can sign up? What does it cost? Now, some other things, there are more to your center than just the bowling. And so some people are going to choose to come in and have a few beers, and bowling is a sidebar. So they actually want to see what kind of beer selection you have. So show your menu. If you've got a good arcade, show the different types of things that you've got. So you can get more elaborate. The more information that you have, the better. But first and foremost, phone number, location, and business hours are your top things that need to be super easily accessible.
That's again, seems like it's basic information, but so often, even just thinking about other businesses that I go to their website when my wife and I are looking for things to do, and there's no phone number, or we don't know how to get in contact with them, or we don't know that they're sold out because they have an event going on. So again, valuable stuff to be able to have on your center's website. So now that I've got my center's website, I've got this information, you've got me bought in that it's important, I've got all this information on there. So once I set it up, is it something that I just, hey, my website's set up, can I just set it and forget it? Or do I need to update it? Or how does that kind of go? Because a lot of times I'm busy, got a lot of things going on. I've got my hours, I've got my phone number, I got my league sign up on there, birthday party page, I'm done. Let me move on to the next thing. Or do I need to kind of always kind of revisit it and do some updating?
So I would say at a minimum, it's a good idea to kind of do an assessment on a quarterly basis, right? Because maybe your prices have changed, or maybe you got the hot new game in the arcade that you want to promote. Those are things to add to it. Maybe your menu changes. But I would also say, there's nothing that screams like a downer or out of date when it is September and you go into a website and it says, hey, sign up for our league starting July 1st, right? So that you've totally missed that window. And then they're like, well, did I miss it? Or are we talking about next summer, right? So you don't want to have a lot of outdated things. So you're depending on how often your leagues go and your schedules go, that's a good thing to keep updated on the regular. But so like I said, if you do it at least quarterly, and if most time it's not going to change, so you can just do a check. Now, if you are really excited about the idea of SEO, which is search engine optimization and showing up in Google, Google likes to see frequent updates. And so that might get into more pictures, more stories and all that. But so it's this kind of fine line that your basic information will probably not need to be changed all the time. But it is a good idea to make sure things stay up to date, everything still looks modern and fresh, and it's not stale.
So again, it's like you said, it's kind of that fine line, and I'm sure we could probably come back and do a whole nother episode on SEO, because I know that's a whole different ball game. But again, it's really just for simplicity, it's really not a set it and forget it. You should be reevaluating it because, as you said, your business changes, your hours may change, or your pricing may change, or the beer list will change. And that's an important part, to make sure that beer list is up to date.
Well, that's the key, right? But if you've ever also gone to a website that it looks like it was made in 1990, then you kind of go, oh, and that makes your impression of the business like, if your website is that old and out of date, is the center going to be this kind of grungy, crusty bowling alley theme that the industry is trying to get away from, right? And so you think, well, no, I've been doing revamping and it looks great, but you don't communicate with that, right? And so it sounds silly, but it does. Design makes a difference, and being fresh and modern, people make vast impressions of your whole business, quite honestly, within 5 seconds of viewing your website.
So you really kind of hit on that next question with this whole idea is, does the design of my website actually impact whether somebody may come visit my center? Or, I mean, if your website was back in the 80s or 90s, I mean, it's pretty old by now. But something that maybe I did early 2000s, should I be looking at it and looking at redesigning it to be more up to date?
I would, to say the standard industry rule says that you should update your website every 3 years. That is a lot for a lot of people. And I own a business too. I get that that's hard to do. And so I don't get my website updated every 3 years. I add to it along the way. But I make sure it is still functional. Now, some of the way to answer that question is how much competition do you have? If you are the only bowling center around for 30 miles, then you have a little bit, and somebody knows they want to go bowling, then you've got some lax. But if you've got a bunch of competition and you're also trying to appeal to, let's say, that younger set, you have the midnight bowling, the glow in the dark, whatever it is, that you're trying to encompass more of a club type atmosphere where it's a night out that happens to be at a bowling center, right? Rather than somebody's looking for something to do. That design and that impression that your business gives is a huge thing to do. And I will also say this is especially important when it comes to mobile. And this combines both the design and that information that we talked about, because the studies are showing when people are visiting websites on mobile, it is very action oriented. Like if you're on your website, you're saying, hey, let me do a little bit of research for my kid's birthday party that I'm planning in a few weeks or months. But if I'm looking on my mobile phone, it means that I want to go bowling now. And so I want to be able to find a phone number. I want that address, and I want to do it quickly. Now, we are in 2024, which means that most of us expect mobile websites to be ready, accessible, easy to use, because a lot of people are going to do it. But not all the websites are matching that expectation, and people are unforgiving because the studies are showing that it's something like 60 to 70% of people that will give up on a site if they can't find the information they want within 5 seconds. And 80% of people that have a bad, specifically mobile experience won't come back to the website or the business. So the way your website is laid out can make a huge difference in whether people are going to walk through your door.
Wow. So again, we get back to everybody's looking for the thing to do right here on this little mobile device. And so if your website doesn't play out well and they can't find what they're looking for, it definitely is going to impact whether they show up at your door for a night out on a Friday, Saturday night. So
it is. And so one thing I would encourage everybody to do, pick up your phone and look at your website on your mobile device and see what it is. And if you've got a developer or you're talking to a website developer, you want to make sure that they are going to give what's called a responsive design for you, so it does look good on your phone.
Awesome. So another great tip, make sure you have that responsive design. With all these, there's a lot to a great website, obviously, and more than we can cover today. But what would be some final tips that you would give to a center out there to kind of at least go past just the bare bones minimum of, hey, my address, my phone number, my hours, my pricing? What would be some final tips that you would kind of give for a website?
So websites are not just for marketing. Websites support operations. They're available 24/7 and they can do a lot of the functional stuff. So if you can integrate the ability to reserve a lane or pre-order shoes and people want to just pay for that online so that it's all ready and waiting for them. You could do league signups, bonus points. If nothing else, you can have a simple form, but you get bonus points if you tie that into your CRM, because then you don't have to do data entry. But it also means you can collect information from people. They'll go into your system. You can follow up with them. You can add them to your email address. And websites can do all kinds of things. I have on my own website, I have invoicing. I have e-signatures on that. That may or may not be applicable for you, but let's say you want to set up an agreement or lay out the parameters of a birthday party or a team building type of event type of thing that's larger than just somebody rolling into to rent a lane. You can do all that type of stuff on your website that saves you time and frees up your staff to actually deal with customers coming through the door.
Wow, it's a lot you can do with your website, Nicole. Got time for one more question. I know we're going a little long. Kelly's going to get mad at me for going past our time, but I think this is an important one because I've been hearing a lot of talk recently about ADA compliance. And it seems like when I think of ADA compliance, I'm thinking about like doorways and ramps and all of this kind of stuff. Is there really ADA compliance requirements for websites?
It really is. So if you've probably heard over the years, like Target gets sued because somebody who was blind couldn't operate on the website. And so the old school, some people call it 508 compliance. What it really means is that your website is available for disabilities, just like it is, for somebody who is visually impaired. They are using screen readers. And so some of the very basic things that go is when you upload an image, you can't just use that image 1234, that whatever that file name is, you have to make it descriptive. You have to say young woman doing duck pin bowling. Now the bonus point is that that helps you with your SEO, being found in Google and being more descriptive. But that was kind of back in the day, just having your alt tags was your gold standard and it was your basic. Now there's a lot going that people, they want to do font sizing. There's everything from PDFs are accessible as well. There are a bunch of apps and plugins that will do some things for you, but what you can also do is that you can Google ADA compliant scan. And they will look at everything from, do you have your contrast colors, right? Like if you've got light blue on white, that's probably not going to pass because it doesn't have enough contrast for somebody with low vision to see it. Or somebody with hearing impairment, they want to see captions on videos or audio transcripts. So there's actually a lot that goes into it. And while a lot of us small business owners, which I think a lot of bowling centers are, like to believe we're too small to be worried about it, it's kind of like a hacker. If they can, they will. It doesn't matter how small the business is. And because these regulations are in, there is a whole new industry of people essentially, unfortunately, trolling out for opportunities to create lawsuits for that. So it sounds like an afterthought and not something that we think about. But unfortunately, the number of lawsuits are increasing around this every single year.
Wow, sounds like we can come back and do a whole episode just on ADA compliance for your website. So, Nicole, thank you again for your time today and sharing all this information with us, and hopefully we'll have you back sometime soon. So if you have any questions or need help navigating the digital landscape, you can reach out to Nicole directly via her email or website or right there on the screen. And if you're ready to start improving your profitability, you can reach us at any time at education@bpaa.com. As we wrap up another edition of The Profit Break, remember, when your focus is on growing people, people will grow your business. This episode, as well as all previous episodes of The Profit Break, are available 24/7 for you and your team at bowlinguniversity.net. Plus, new episodes are available every month, so mark your calendar, watch your email, and join us on Facebook to hear about the latest shows. Until then, I'm Gerald Morrow, and do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. We'll see you next time.